lives for the better. Our vision is to be a transformative platform that exposes lies and reveals the truth. Mind Changers International, we on a mission. Masking the falsehoods with every new edition. We're here to enlighten your mind with this vibration. Expose the lies, speaking truth, normal conversations. Mind Changers International, we on a mission. Masking the falsehoods.
Welcome to Mind Changers Podcast. I'm your host, Lamar Blakney. Listen, we got something here. Okay, got it. I'm your host, Lamar Blakney, and I got my co-host, Mr. Shann Atkinson. And
What's going on, man?
We are ready to have this podcast tonight.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are.
Yes, sir. All right, let me get my music together. I knew something was wrong, Shann. Yeah, we got to come in like this. Y'all know how we do. So listen, I hope y'all had a wonderful week. I hope y'all had a wonderful weekend, because I did. It was a good weekend. What about you, Shann?
Yeah, it was pretty good. It was pretty busy weekend, but I got everything done. Just the time to start the week all over again.
Yeah. So listen, we're going to do somewhat of a continuation from last week. And we just want to talk about some things. So listen, if you guys want to chime in and you want to, give your opinion, listen, we got the comment section open for everyone and everybody who wants to make a comment on our subject at hand.
Yeah.
So let me pull that up, Shann. Let me pull up the comment section. All right. So let me stop this thing right here. All right. So today, our episode is on. I'm a little scratchy today, y'all. Today, our episode is on the power, prophet, and prophecy. Dissecting the Trump administration and the times we are in. This show is hosted by Lamar Blakney and my co-host Shann Atkinson. Shann Atkinson. He knew I was gonna get him with it.
Yeah. I knew it was coming.
All right, Shann, listen, do your introduction, man, because I kind of gave it a little bit, but you're going to do your introduction, bro.
Yeah. Now, today, we're going to do a deep dive into the legacy of the Trump administration, a legacy that absolutely transcends more than just economics and politics, and it reaches into the very soul of our nation. It's just this administration is doing things that we have never seen a president ever do. And it looks to be seen that this stuff right here is not going to be good for our country, that this stuff is going to harm us more than it's going to help us.
Yeah. And Shann, I would say this. I'm pulling up something, man, for my fact-finding information. If we ever run into somebody who's bringing in a comment and, they want us to bring up some facts, we're going to be able to, present those facts today. So the Bible says, and I'm going to go to some scripture, right?
Okay.
The Bible says in 2 Timothy 3 that in the last days, perilous times shall come. You said in the last days, perilous times shall come. We must confront the reality that, listen, everybody, we are witnessing is not just, a shift in government, it's a fulfillment of the prophetic warning about the unchecked power, right?
That's right.
So the trampling of truth and the elevation of leaders who reflect rebellion over righteousness.
That's right. So join us as we dissect the critical issues at play, armed with facts, biblical context, and a call to action. This isn't just about politics, people. It's about the moral and the spiritual state of our nation.
Yeah. And listen, if we think we can exclude the word of God in these times, then we crazy. We crazy.
We are.
Shann and I, we don't know everything, but what we do is we try to do we do our best, because try is a failed statement. We do our best to kind of do our homework, make sure that we're bringing you guys the right information. But before we do that, we got to do our disclaimer.
Yes.
Okay, so let me bring about a disclaimer. The views expressed in the Mind Changers podcast are intended for informational purposes only and do not reflect the opinions of any organization. We aim to foster thoughtful dialogue and do not promote discrimination or misinformation. Listeners' discretion is advised. And so now we back, Sean. We got that
Yes, man.
homework out of the
Yes.
way. So
Yes.
let's get to our first segment.
Yeah.
The executive overreach, right? A
Yes. Yes.
modern
Yes.
day King Saul. And I'm gonna tell you, people, a lot of
Okay.
folks, and I say this, we don't promote Republican, we don't promote Democrat, we don't
No.
promote independence. I'm an
No.
independent, but I don't want you to be one because I'm one.
Right.
I don't want you to choose who I feel like you should choose. Everybody has their reasons and their motives behind who they chose and why they chose them. But I just
Right.
want people to be honest. Like sometimes you can choose who you want to choose, but
Yeah.
then you like at this moment, I know I messed up. And so
Yeah.
some of us right now have to be saying that. So Sean, we're gonna talk about the executive overreach.
Yeah.
And what the Bible says about the modern day King Saul. When people cry
Right.
out for what they think they want,
Right.
and then they get the smoke they don't want to breathe.
That's true.
So
Well,
let's go, Sean.
I would go as far as to say as this is not even the modern day King Saul. King Saul started out as a man of God,
Mhm.
full of wisdom. I mean, he was gifted wisdom. There's absolutely no wisdom in this administration whatsoever. This administration is literally out for the biggest cash grab they can find. They are looking to make as much money as they possibly can. So let's begin with the executive order 14215. Okay.
Okay.
This order centralizes the power to interpret laws within the executive branch. I want you to hear what I'm saying. This and this was passed just the other day. Maybe I think as early
Mhm.
as yesterday morning.
Wow.
This order centralizes the power to interpret laws within the executive branch, effectively sidelining the independent agency of the judiciary committees. Trump claims that only the president should interpret laws. This is not democracy. It's the emergence of a monarchy when you say the executive branch can only interpret the laws. Now, I don't feel like this executive order is going to fly anywhere. I believe the courts are going to squash this executive order as early as tomorrow. But still, the fact that they are so mad that the court systems will
Mhm.
not play ball with them, and they think they're going to write an executive order just to say, courts, we're going to make you null and void.
Mhm.
And the court system is the only thing that can protect you anywhere you go, anywhere you do, whether you're sued or you get arrested for a crime
Mhm.
or you need some sort of litigation or some sort of mediation. The court system is the only thing there for you and I. And it's the
Yeah.
only thing there to make sure that men of power, men that have the ability to make laws, don't abuse that and just start going crazy and making any law they want to the way they see fit. What do you think, Lamar?
Yeah. And you know what? That's right, Sean. And even though we're talking about this, some people are not politically inclined. Some people don't
Yeah.
really know politics. And even
Yeah.
though they hear the word, Sean, executive order, some people
Hmm.
really don't know what that means. If you're not
Right.
connected to politics, you don't. So,
Right.
what I'm going to do today, I got me some notes up here. I'm going to go ahead and read these notes, what an executive order is, so
Okay.
that when you hear that Donald Trump or any president has signed an executive order, you'll have a clear understanding what it is. So it says an
That's right.
executive order is a directive issued by the president of the United States to manage the operations of the federal government. It has the
Okay.
force of law, but does not require approval from Congress. So this is what we have to understand, people. What he just did not need anybody approval. It's just the
That's right.
signing of a pen that gives him the power to make decisions on his that he can rule over. It says executive orders can be used to implement policies, direct
Hmm.
government agencies, and manage resources. They are often used to address issues that require immediate action or to clarify existing laws and regulations.
Right.
However,
Right.
they can also be challenged in court or reversed by
You
future
can.
administrations. Now,
Yes. Yes.
Mel, it could be reversed in court if it wasn't Donald Trump
Hmm.
because He's not paying attention to anything that the Supreme
Right.
Court is saying.
That is
So
true. That is true.
this is why I kind of said this is almost like a modern day Saul, right?
Mm-hmm.
God just didn't want him in that position. So
Right.
if we go back to the Bible, God warned
Mm.
Israel in
Yep.
Samuel 1:8 about the consequences of demanding a king like the nation around them. So they
Right.
wanted a king just like everybody else had, right?
Yes.
We
Yes.
want a president just like everybody else had, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the
Mm-hmm.
Bible says he will take your sons, your fields, your vineyards, your
That's
service,
right.
and you will cry out because the king you have chosen, we are living in that cry out right now in this moment.
That's right.
So
That's right.
they chose a king, people chose Donald Trump. And now they're
Yes.
crying out
Yes.
with all these things that are about to happen
Mm-hmm.
economically, right? So
Mm-hmm.
we are in
Mm-hmm.
the very fabric of our democracy, and it is at stake right now. Our
It is.
democracy is in trouble. It is in
It is.
serious trouble. And I know some people
Mm-hmm.
say, hey, man, I don't want to hear nothing about this. Well, you
Mm-hmm.
might not want to hear nothing about it, but you're going to feel it.
That's right.
You're going to feel everything about this administration. I don't care how much money you have. I don't care how
Mm-hmm.
many resources. You can be a millionaire. You're going to feel this.
That's right.
This will not be an unfelt administration. And I
Absolutely.
don't really like talking about this, Sean, but
I
we
know.
can't ignore these
No.
things. We call ourselves mind changers. Okay, we got to talk about certain things. I don't
Yep.
have pleasure in talking about this administration. I want to let
I
y'all
don't
know
either.
that
I don't
this
either, man.
just not something I really want to talk about because it's so opinionated. Well, that's
Mm-hmm.
y'all opinion, but
That's
then there are
true.
some facts that are going
Yeah.
on right now with these
Mm-hmm.
tariffs, but we're not going to get ahead of each other. So, Sean, you on the next part of this, brother.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if we just look at it, I mean, the people that voted for Trump are okay with overlooking the fact that he is moving into a monarch type scenario, where he's moving into a dictator type scenario. When the Constitution was founded for this country, because we fought so hard to get away from a
Mhm,
king. We fought so hard to get away from a monarch rule because we wanted to rule and govern ourselves as
mhm,
people. Now, don't get me wrong. I absolutely recognize the vote of Donald Trump and the people that voted for him. You had
mhm.
every right to do so. You had every right to do so. Your vote spoke and your vote won. I get that. But you really need to look at what exactly it is that you are voting for or what you're okay with them. You see, when Trump ignored the Supreme Court order to return Kilmar Abrego Garcia, an innocent legal resident, he didn't merely break protocol, he defied judicial authority.
Mhm,
This is a constitutional crisis that threatens the rule of law. So you got to understand something. This is like kidnapping.
mhm,
This administration is kidnapping people off the street without any kind of due process, without any court proceedings whatsoever, sometimes in the cover of darkness, and these people are thrown on airplanes and they are leaving these borders, and we're not entirely sure who's
mhm.
all leaving off on these planes because the administration will not give the judicial courts what it is they want. Who are these people? Where are they going? Why are you taking them? This is kidnapping, and we have to look at that because if if somebody is willing to kidnap somebody just because they don't want them in this country, then where does it stop? You have to ask yourself that question. Where and when does it stop? And who is safe and who is not safe from all this? What do
Yeah.
you got?
Well, it, in reality, I get what you're saying when you say kidnapping, but
Mhm.
since there was an executive order that was issued
Mhm.
to remove certain individuals, according
Right?
to the law, it's not kidnapping, but according to
No.
ethical
It's
sense to
no.
me, is it's removing
It's
somebody from
yeah.
something from somewhere they belong against
Mhm.
their will. So I see where
Mhm.
you would say it's a form
Yeah.
of kidnapping.
It
But when we
is
go look
because
at the
because that executive order is not law. The courts already said it's not law, and he's still going. So really, that executive order is a blank piece of paper. So that's why I was saying it's like kidnapping because what he's doing is not even legal.
Mhm. So Sam Blue said, did the last administration do any overreaching in your opinion? Yes, they did. I would agree with that. I completely hated the Biden administration. There was nothing about it that I liked. There was nothing about it that I liked, even with Kamala being his vice president. To me, I didn't even agree with that. But folks want to be all about this black thing. Well, we're the first black this and first black. I don't care nothing about the first black anything. All I
Okay.
care about is what's good for this country, what's good for my children's children's children. So to answer your question, Sam, they overreached a lot. What do you think, Sean?
Well, here's the thing. Overreach, the definition of overreach in what we're talking about right here, right now, is the overreaching law, overreaching the court. That's all I'm talking about. The fact that Biden had policies that you didn't like, that's not the definition of overreach. That's just the definition of you didn't appreciate or did not like what it was he did. It did not fit your morals. It did not fit your pocketbook. It did not fit your ideology. That's not overreach. That is just somebody who did not do what you like. This, on the other hand, is absolute overreach. It is where he's going out and he is completely circumventing all legal matters, telling the courts they could go somewhere. He doesn't care what they have to say. When all other presidents would listen to the courts. If the court got involved and the court said you couldn't do that, that's where they stopped. They didn't go any further. This is different. This is so different.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I got you. So when I look at all the things that's happening, like Sam is talking about the FDA, he says making someone take an unproven vaccine, not approved by the FDA, or get fired from your job is not an overreach. It is definitely an overreach, in my opinion. Is that not monarchy traits? Yes. But listen, it started
Well,
from
wait,
the
wait, wait,
Donald
wait.
Trump administration when it came to the vaccines, because that happened towards the end of Donald Trump's first
Okay.
presidency, when when Dr. Fauci said, "Hey, if these people don't take this vaccine, they shouldn't be able to work." This didn't happen under the Biden administration. That
Okay.
happened under Donald Trump.
Right.
That was all. COVID-19 was
Okay.
all under Donald Trump's presidency. So to me, that goes to him. That was his blame. They didn't handle that right at all. Forcing people to take vaccines, and if you don't take it, you're gonna lose your job. So
Right.
yeah, Donald Trump and them overreached on that.
Okay.
Yes. So yeah, Sean. So that executive order, man, I think you kind of looked into it a little more than I did. And we're talking about executive order 14215. So I got my little fact finder laptop up here to kind of put some stuff in, just in case something comes off the cuff like it is now. So Sean, you had a little more time than I did today to kind of go over that, kind of bring me up to speed on that while I look up some information.
What it's just all it is. It's a very simple. If you're talking about 14215,
Yeah.
it's nothing more than just. It's nothing more than a reactionary type situation to where they don't like that the courts are stopping them, because the courts are effectively stopping them in certain aspects, stopping the push from some of the things they want to do. And his lawyers are telling him, we got to be careful with this because we are skirting. We could go to jail for some of this stuff. So, I
Yeah.
mean, somebody could get locked up for this if the courts really, really wanted to push it. And all this is just a reaction type executive order that just basically is doing everything it can to null and void the courts so that they can do whatever it is they want to.
Yeah. So I got some information on that, Sean. I'm gonna kind of read it out
Okay.
to you. All right.
Yeah, go ahead. Go
So
ahead.
Executive Order 14215, titled "Further Advance Racial Equity and Support for Undeserving Communities Through the Federal Government," was issued by President Biden on February 16, 2022. And so, is this the same order?
No, I'm not sure if the one that we're talking about is that has nothing to do with it. This is the one that was the
Okay,
one I'm
okay, I
talking
see.
about is the one that was passed just yesterday morning.
Got you. To undermine the judicial role, right? So
Yeah.
Trump
Yeah.
refused to comply with the Supreme Court ruling on the Lamar case, and so
Yeah.
now he's putting in according to the information you discussed with me, an
Hmm.
executive order where he makes the determination on the rule of law. Am I correct?
Yes,
What is
where he
what the
has
rule
the
of law
only
is?
he wants to be the only one that can interpret it, like saying this is what the law should be and this is how we should move forward.
Okay, okay, okay. So I'm gonna pull up something. So let's go to our next point. The overreach. Not the overreach because we just talked about that. We're gonna go to. Well, I'll pull up some more information, Sean. We're gonna go to segment 2.
Yes.
Erosion of democracy, a
Uh-huh.
nation of apostasy. If anybody know what apostasy is, it just leads people away to something else. It's more used in
Hmm.
religion to where
Right.
people turn away from God.
Right.
So when a nation loses its moral compass, it begins to idolize charisma over character, right?
Right.
So we can go
Hmm.
to Isaiah 5:20, warns us, woe to those who call evil good and good evil. We
Right.
are witnessing that this right now. We are witnessing
Hmm.
that this political landscape where leaders are celebrated for their charm rather than their integrity. And
Yeah.
and that's what we're dealing with right now in this administration.
Absolutely.
And
Well,
go ahead.
here's the thing. Here's the thing. That too, that's happened in previous administrations as well. I'm not gonna go as far as to say that it started with Trump. It did not. It started with many other administrations, and it has just building it up. What makes this different? And here's the thing. Every administration absolutely has a um skeletons in their closet that we can all dig out
Mhm.
and that we can all look at. And once things become declassified, we're going to see every administration do something diabolical. I get that. I understand that. And I know that a lot of that is just for the to bring the United States to the forefront, to give it its power all the time. This situation is a little bit different because we have a known con man. There is no mystery that Trump has been a con man his entire life. He's done everything he possibly could to circumvent every law he possibly could to get away with whatever he is. Now,
Mhm.
is that a shrewd businessman? Okay, it is. I agree. When it comes to business, all gloves are off. In order to become rich in order to become rich in this world, to become a billionaire, it's all about what crime you can get away with. That's all it is. Nobody is a billionaire off of his own merit. It's just whatever crime they figured out they could get away with, and whoever gets away with the biggest crime makes the most money. So I'm not going to sit there and say it started with Trump. It's definitely started with other people. I understand too that Hunter Biden was getting money from Ukraine. Absolutely. For the tune of about $2 million. He should go to jail for it
Mhm.
because it was illegal. I have no problem with Hunter Biden going to jail for it. The problem is in the first 100 days, Trump has gotten to the tune of $4 billion in his only his first 100 days. So when we're looking at this, the erosion of democracy, it has been marked by a troubled trend, the dismissal of truth in favor of popularism. I mean, facts have become fluid and misinformation is rampant. The consequence of this are grave. And as we see a growing divide between reality and perception. I mean, just the other day, I think this morning, they asked the Speaker of the House. They've been continuously just plugging
Mhm.
him on all the things because Trump went on his little Middle East tour when we went all around the Middle East. We went to the different
Mhm.
countries, and every country he visited was first visited by his children, by his sons,
Mhm.
and they all set up these big hotel deals and business deals leading up to him coming there for the tune of $2 billion in just that trip alone. And so they asked the Speaker of the House, "Are you concerned that he just made $2 billion on this visit?" You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And this whole plane thing. And the Speaker of the House went as far as said, well, Hunter Biden did it also, but he did it in secret. But Trump is doing it in public. That doesn't make it right that he's
No,
doing
I
it in
don't.
front of us. It doesn't make it right. And that came out of the mouth of the Speaker of the House. He literally said, Hunter Biden did it in secret. and Trump is doing it for us all to see. It doesn't make it right. What do you got?
Nah, nah, it don't even make it close to right.
Yeah.
Man, I'll say this: the foundation of our democracy is being tested.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is being tested. The media, once was regarded as the fourth estate, has faced a lot of
Mm-hmm.
attacks, right? With
Right.
fake
Mm-hmm.
news, weaponizing and discrediting legitimate reporting. You don't
Mm-hmm.
know who to trust anymore when it comes to the media. I'm to the
That's
point
yeah.
now where
Yeah.
you got to fact check the facts. You have to
That's
fact
right.
check the facts.
I agree.
And Sam Blue said, I think said it was around about $1.2 trillion.
For what? What number? What
I think
numbers
he's
he
saying that's how much money that was made.
from
He was
who?
talking about the money with Donald Trump.
No, he hasn't made. He's talking about a different amount. Whatever that 1 trillion is
Okay.
something else he's talking about. It's got to be something else he's
Okay.
talking
Okay.
about.
Okay. Now, here's my thing. As a president, you're not supposed to use your administration for the benefit of money.
Right.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a conflict of interest. Now, I don't know the law and I don't know the
Mm-hmm.
terminology on that,
Mm-hmm.
but I know from common sense,
Mm-hmm.
it shouldn't be that. Somebody says, "You devil, you killed your." Oh, somebody just put something up there on. It just popped up from YouTube, so I didn't know if it was ours or,
But
but it
all
ain't
right.
it ain't it ain't ours because it popped up. So you know,
Okay.
all of this stuff with what's going on right now is
Mm-hmm.
so troubling. It's
It is.
troubling with what he's doing. It's troubling with what the Democrats are doing because
Mm-hmm.
it's like I said, I call them the red and the blue, the Crips and the
Yeah.
Bloods.
Yeah.
Is nothing but a political gang,
It is
a bunch of people
on both
with power
sides.
who's
On both
able to
sides.
make decisions for the benefit of money. Now, I don't agree that every trillionaire, billionaire got there by breaking the law because I don't know. I can't
Okay.
prove that fact. Like somebody hit the
Okay.
lottery or somebody is in the oil or things like that.
Right.
I don't know that. But I do
Okay.
know this. Our president shouldn't be on no tour making no money
No, no. Now I got
and
no
and
problem.
benefiting
I got no
financially.
problem. Yeah, I got no problem with them going on um, a diplomatic tour. I got no problem with that. I mean, we have to do that. We've got to go to these different places, show our face, and do things with them that benefit this country. But all of that benefited him. All of it did. There's nothing. Now, granted, I do agree that the Arabian nations are going to invest money in us. They always do.
Mhm.
Oh, that's nothing new. Saudi Arabia has so much money in our banks, it's not even funny. I mean,
Yeah.
it was said at one time that if Saudi Arabia woke up tomorrow and decided to take all their money out of their bank, we would cease to be a country. So Saudi Arabia has more money in our economy than I think we have our own money in our
Right.
economy. So I understand that he's got to keep them engaged and keep them wanting to invest money into this country, but he's doing it at a cost because he's like, you pay me and you give me money and I'll do something for you. And I don't agree with that. I don't
Yeah.
agree with that.
So I'm gonna pull up some information about his Middle Eastern tour, right? It says
Hmm.
Donald Trump 2025 Middle Eastern tour result in a substantial business agreement. So
It
that's
did.
wrong. A business agreement, right?
Hmm.
Totaling over 200 billion with the United Arab uh,
Hmm. Yeah.
Emirates. That's what it says.
Uh-huh.
Emirates alone.
Hmm.
Say this include a partnership to build a massive AI center in Abu Dhabi and
Hmm.
a $14.5 billion deal
Yeah.
for is Etihad
Hmm.
Airways to purchase
Yep.
28 Boeing aircrafts. Additionally, it says the UAE committed to increasing its energy investment in the United States for 440 billion over the
Yes.
next decade to
Hmm.
Qatar. Trump
Hmm.
announced deal worth over 243 billion, including a record order of 210 Boeing jets by Qatar
Hmm.
Airways. It
Yeah.
says the tour also secured significant agreements with Saudi
Hmm.
Arabia, totaling around 142 billion in
Yes.
strategic economic partnership. Overall, tour was focused on enhancing economic cooperation and
Hmm.
investment in the region.
Right.
So they saying that this is for the betterment of everything, but it's not actually saying that's what he made.
No, what that was. Now, granted, that was a
Mhm.
business deal to bring some sort of economic growth into this
Okay.
country. Now, Boeing being a United States company that builds planes in the United States, that will help, no doubt. You're going to build more planes. More planes are going to get built. There's going to be more jobs. It potentially could create more jobs. The AI thing is only going to benefit one person. That's going to benefit Elon Musk. That's going to be Elon Musk's facility because it's his AI that they're trying to push. There's his AI they're trying to push. So
Yeah.
so that whole thing benefits it will not benefit me or you at all.
Yeah.
These AI data centers run by themselves. It's got
Mhm.
very few people in there, so it's not going to create any jobs. It's not going to create any kind of meaningful jobs whatsoever. That's only going to benefit Elon Musk, plain and
Yeah.
simple.
Now, I know that presidents do make money like for appearances and
Hmm.
books and things of
Hmm.
that nature. And I
Only
know
no,
that Obama,
no,
huh?
No, you
Th-
that only happens after they leave office. They do not do that while they're in office. They
Okay.
do not do that.
So Sam put up here, he put Obama came into office with 1.4 million net worth. He had a
Mhm,
$20 million net worth when he left the office. He now has
mhm,
a net worth over $100 million. Did he not make
mhm.
money during his presidency?
No,
Ah,
all his money came after he left presidency. Now, granted, he was setting things up so that
hmm
when he hit the ground running, that he would be able to, his film company, his book deals, his
hmm
and most of all the money that we know of
hmm
that he's making is making off of his production company where he makes documentaries and movies and things like that. So, um, that happened after his presidency.
Yeah, see,
There's
I'm not well
nothing
versed on that because
there's nothing
I hadn't
wrong
kept up with his
there's
money.
nothing wrong with any now, here's the thing, if President Trump was on the level and was not doing a huge cash grab this whole time within the first 100 days and did his job, was the president, and then when he finishes his 4-year term and he hits the ground running and he makes a couple of billion dollars, I got no problem with that because you're no longer the president. I understand you as a president were in office, so you're going to have some sort of influence. I get it. You're going to have influence as a president, and when you leave the White House, you can start making money. I get it. It's just part of how the whole system works. And
Well,
it makes sense, but you can't do it while you're in office. You cannot do that while you're in office.
I know he was getting paid $400,000 a year. So if you put those 4 years into Obama, that's over 16 million right there. That's over 1.6 million right
Right.
there.
Well, his
So
8
with his
years.
eight
Yeah,
years,
that's
well,
8.
that's what
Yeah,
four
he was in 8
years.
years.
So he was there 8 years. So he made money as a president.
Mhm.
I'm looking at some other things here. It says he got a publishing deal where he earned
Mhm.
65 million in 2020.
Mhm.
So it's not showing anything about him. The facts that I just pulled up, I pulled up several sources to say that he made money while he was in presidency. It doesn't mean
Mhm.
that he didn't, as far as this information that I just pulled
Yeah.
up. What
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
pulled up here says that he made most of his money with his production company, his
Mhm.
publishing deal,
Mhm.
advances. Yeah, that's what it's saying here as far as
Mhm.
ABC and some of the other sources that I've just pulled
Mhm.
up, that he
Mhm.
didn't actually make money in his presidency, that I can pull up and document and say, hey, I can pull up these facts to show you he made this money. So,
Okay.
Sam, I couldn't find that. Maybe you can find it and send it to us so we can see if he was, in fact, making money while he was president. That was documented. I'm pretty sure the guy's doing something, but just documented for us to have the proper conversation about
Mhm.
whether or not he made money in his presidency. So
Okay.
that's another thing. So let's get to our I think Sean, you got something that you need to go over.
Yeah, yeah, like this whole thing is essentially it's every citizen has to engage critically with the information they consume.
Hmm
I mean, education is our greatest weapon against misinformation.
hmm
We must strive to be informed and discerning, seeking truth in a world full of deceit. Now, and education is so important right now because they're trying so hard to change education.
hmm
There is a rapid effort to go out here and completely change how we teach our children and what they learn and how they learn it. And it they want us uneducated so they can do things that they want to do. And here's the thing. This is not just Trump. This is
Mhm.
a future president. He is setting precedences to where if somebody comes along worse than him,
Mhm.
there's no telling what they can get away with. So I want everybody to understand. I know I'm picking on Trump and I'm beating him up. I get it. I get it. And I know you don't appreciate it. And I apologize for that. But I'm trying to also get you to understand these precedences that are being set will be for every other president that's yet to come. Because
Yeah.
all they're going to do is look back and it's like, he got away with it. I can too. I'm going to push the envelope a little further. We have yet to see an absolute madman in the White House. Trump's not a madman. I'm not even going to sit here and say that he is.
Mhm.
Trump is just a con man. That's all he is, looking to make a buck. That's all he's ever done, and that's all he ever will do. His sons will be the same way.
And
But
here's the thing. Go
he's
ahead.
setting such dangerous precedences
Mhm.
that everything he's doing to make a buck and to please hateful people, he's going to set it up to where if a true madman shows up in this White House, there's no telling where he'll go from there.
Yeah. And basically, Sean, people have lost trust in our
Mhm.
political system, right?
I have too,
Yeah.
and
We
I
got
have for a long
yeah.
time. I
And
get
this
it.
is
I have
why
for a long time.
we have to recognize the degradation of trust is a precursor to a lot of chaos. And that's why we see a lot of
Mhm.
chaos. When people
Mhm.
lose faith in the institution designed to serve them, the
Mhm.
fabric of democracy begin to fray. We
That's
must
right.
reclaim the narrative of truth and hold our leaders accountable. But how can we hold a leader accountable who won't listen to nobody?
Yes,
You know,
absolutely.
how do we do that, Sean?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, ultimately, the health of our democracy depends on our collective commitment to uphold that same truth and righteousness that you just spoke of.
Mhm.
It is our duty to challenge falsehoods and advocate justice, ensuring the future generations inherit a society rooted in integrity. Now, I understand the world is way different than when
Mhm.
you and I came up. Things are so much different. The world is accepting things now that you and I saw people get beat up over.
Yeah.
That you and I saw get killed over. I mean, just look at civil rights. Nobody wanted civil rights. Nobody wanted to
Mhm.
see black Americans have the rights to vote. Nobody wanted to see them have the rights to own businesses or anything of that nature. But it was in our best interest of a nation to push that through. Because if one citizen is not enjoying democracy, none of us are enjoying democracy. So we
Yeah.
have to understand we can't get so bent out of shape because we see gay people or trans people or cross dressers walking around and we think that we're losing something or we're
Mhm.
losing a piece of ourselves. We're not. We're not losing anything. We're gaining so much more because we are openly accepting everybody. It doesn't mean you have to go out and be gay and cross dress and be trans. It just means that you see your neighbor and who they are and you appreciate who they are. Because if you try to use democracy and use the Constitution to circumvent their decent rights as humans, then
Mhm.
nobody in this country is safe. None of
Yeah.
our rights are safe.
Yeah. I agree with you, man. You know, as I'm getting older, I'm
Mhm.
realizing that, we have to let people be who they are.
You have
And
to.
I'd rather for you to be a good person
Mhm.
doing something I don't agree with to being a bad person and doing something
Exactly.
I don't agree with.
That's
And
right.
and,
That's
and
right.
my thing is this, you know, I don't know how to me personally, I don't know how
Mhm.
to address the lettered community. And I'm always calling them the
Okay.
lettered community. I don't know how to address them because I don't understand them. I don't understand what they're
Mhm.
going through. I don't understand why they do what they do. I just
Mhm.
don't understand. But when
Okay.
it comes to these politics, I mean, we look at it, Sean, they made laws for people's lifestyle. And
Mhm.
you can get in a lot of trouble for calling them something that they don't agree with that they feel is offensive, like
Mhm.
the F word. And it ends
Mhm.
with a. get, so
Mhm.
I don't
Mhm.
I don't understand that culture of individuals. So
Okay.
we're going to move to our next segment, segment 3, Sean, which we're going to talk about
Okay.
the tariffs. I
Yeah.
never get that right. The
Yeah.
tariffs, trials and tribulations. We're gonna talk about
Okay.
that. So I want you to kind of start this
Okay.
segment off if you don't mind.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, let's talk about economic policy.
Okay.
Trump's tariffs were marketed as a way to boost American industry, but they have done more harm than good. While billionaires flourish, small billionaires and farmers face bankruptcy because the tariffs were put in place. Now, I understand the tariffs were put in place as a deterrent to keep
Hmm.
other countries from shipping cheap goods into our country
Yeah.
so that we as a nation could compete and make those same goods that we're bringing in from another country and make those same goods and possibly spark the economy and spark job growth. But the thing about it is the tariffs, it's not a quick fix. It takes time to build industry. It takes time to build growth. It takes time to build factories. These things that he thinks is going to happen overnight, it's not going to happen. So what happens is when you start jacking everything up by 100%,
Mhm.
140%, you and I, we feel the effects immediately. Prices start going up immediately, and all we can hope for is that these businesses decide to make a deal and come back into this country and build those products here.
Mhm.
But that takes time. That takes
Yeah.
money. That takes investment. That takes litigation. That takes policies that have to be that could take years. That can take years, but then all of a sudden we're paying 140% more for our products.
Yeah.
That
And,
was not the way to go. That was not the way to go.
yeah. And I had a video from President Ronald Reagan, and
Hmm.
he did a section where he talked
Hmm.
about the tariffs, Sean. He talked about
Right. Right. Right.
how bad of an idea that the tariffs would be. And I mean,
Right.
he was reading the teleprompter. He had his notes in front of
Hmm.
him.
Hmm.
If y'all want to go to YouTube and type up
Hmm.
President Ronald Reagan's addressing the tariffs, he
Hmm.
had an amazing perspective on why we should not raise the tariffs because it increased
Okay.
prices of consumer goods, right?
Hmm.
Tariff raises the cost of imported goods, right?
It
Which
does.
can
It
lead
does.
to higher prices for consumers.
Mhm.
This could particularly impact products that we really need to have.
Yeah.
Walmart is
Yeah.
about to go up on their prices
Mhm.
tremendously. Well, guess what?
Yeah.
Walmart was the place for the underclass
Yeah.
economic group of individuals, such as ourselves sometimes, that
Mhm.
say, hey, I can go to this place and I can get a bargain. Ronald
Mhm.
Reagan also talked about how it would cause retaliation from other countries when the
Yeah.
U.S. imposed tariffs, right? Other
Right.
countries
Right.
may retaliate with their tariffs on American goods. It's like, oh, you're going to do this to
Right.
us? We're going to do this to you. So that's
Right.
another thing that President Ronald Reagan, when he was addressing the tariffs, Sean, was talking
Right.
about. He said it would also disrupt supply chains. It says many
Yeah.
U.S. companies rely on global supply chains for
We do.
products. Tariffs can disrupt
Yeah.
these supply chains, leading
Mhm.
to inefficiencies and increased costs for
That's
manufacturers.
right.
Now,
That's right.
we have the car dealerships, we have
Mhm.
boats, homes, wood. We got
Mhm.
all these different things that we need to survive that we have the
Yep.
money to handle. But
That's
if
right.
wages are not going up and these
Right.
tariffs are taking prices up, now the
Mhm.
dollar is dying even more.
Mhm.
Ronald Reagan also talked about the job losses in certain sectors. He says while
Right.
tariffs might, protect some domestic industries, they can lead to job job losses in others, especially in sectors that rely on imported material and components. How
Okay.
many companies right now in America de- depend on
Yeah.
these products from other countries?
Tons of people.
Yeah. Then
Tons of companies.
Yeah. Then he also talked about the how do you say it? Inflational pressure by
Right.
increasing the cost for businesses and consumers. Tariffs
Mhm.
can contribute to inflation, eroding
Mhm.
purchasing power, and economic
Mhm.
stability. Listen,
Right.
this president just went to war with these tariffs with all
Yeah.
these
A trade
countries,
war.
and we got
Yeah.
all of these products that we need, from hair care, skin
Yep.
care, electronics, and everything. This is why I am so displeased with
Mhm.
this administration. I don't care if it was Trump, Bump, or
Yep.
Crump. I
Yep.
am displeased with this because here's the thing: all of them are billionaires. They don't
Yeah.
care if a loaf of bread go to $20 because it's still
Right.
no money to them.
I got you.
So this is why these tariffs were so bad. So Proverbs
Yeah.
22:16 warns, whoever oppresses the poor to increase his
Mhm.
own wealth will come to poverty. So this is
That's
why
right.
we got to depend on God. See, God's economy does not reward oppression, it
Right.
judges it. We must confront the reality that many American families are suffering because of misguided policies, and that is
Yeah.
facts. So here's the facts. Tariff
Mhm.
imposed by Trump administration cost Americans household an average of $2,300 a year. So guess what? By the end of the
Okay.
year, because of these
Right.
tariffs, we are going
Yep.
to lose. Well, we it's going to affect us by $2,300, right? This
Right.
is going to
Yeah.
burden families with higher prices. So since
Mhm.
2018, these are my facts.
Mhm.
Small farms have declined by 14%,
Yeah.
indicating a significant loss in local agriculture, food
Right.
security. And this source came from Yale Budget Lab and The
Right.
Guardian. This is where I got this information from.
Yeah.
So listen, people, got to wake up.
Yeah.
This is serious. This is serious.
Absolutely.
President Ronald Reagan didn't even want to impose tariffs back
Right.
then. And this was, man, almost 50 years ago, because he
Yeah.
knew what we would face as a nation
Mhm.
when it came to that. A trade war is no different than somebody with a gun in their hand.
Yep.
If you put somebody in a position where they got to make a decision, crime go up,
Yep.
especially when it comes to eating, living, and surviving. People are going to do what they got to do. So,
That's right.
Sean, what's your next point on that?
Yeah, definitely it affects small business because small business can't buy in bulk like bigger corporations
Hmm.
can. So their profit margins were already very, very slim as it was because of the amount of items or whatever it is they had to bring in. So this right here is going to kill small business. And then guess what happens? When you kill the small business, somebody has to come in and take that over. Guess
Hmm.
who gets that? Guess who gets that? Corporations get to take and gobble up that small business because it's needed. So now only big business can handle that. And
Hmm.
then you got all these small farms that needed to sell their goods overseas, but now they
Yeah.
can't because they can't afford the tariffs. So now here it is. They go out of business.
Hmm.
But we still need that. So what happens? Your corporate farms step up. They start taking all that away. So all this is just a transfer of wealth. This is
Hmm.
nothing more than transfer of wealth from the hardworking American back to the billionaire corporations, plain and simple.
Yeah. And this, and you think about it, the farmers, and this is why I feel bad for farmers.
Mhm.
In the wintertime, they don't make any money.
Right.
They
They gotta
depend
make
on
it
the
all.
spring and the
Mhm.
summer so they
That's
can
right.
put away their money, but then they can supply us with what we
That's
need.
right. That's
This is
right.
important, America.
Mhm.
This is
That's
important
right.
that these individuals don't suffer, because I'm gonna tell you, you go
Mhm.
buy a carrot for $10,
That's right.
chances are we gonna be nibbling on something else outside of a
Yeah,
carrot.
I know that's right. I
It's
know that's right.
it's going to get bad. And listen, we're not a political podcast.
No.
However, we just decided to come up here and talk about some of the political um, things that are happening
Yeah,
in
because 'cause they're
America,
affecting me.
because
They're
yeah, it's
affecting me.
affecting
They're
us.
affecting me. They're
Yeah.
affecting me.
And we need to
Absolutely.
talk about it. And I know some people say this is boring. Yeah, it's boring till it hits your household. It's
Mhm.
boring till it hits your bank account. It's boring when you got more money, you got more month than you have
Right.
money. It's
That's right.
boring when you can't go and buy a car. It's gonna be boring when you can't buy a house. It's gonna be
Mhm.
boring when the things that you need cost so much. You're better off being without it. Not because you can't, not because you don't want it, you can't afford it.
That's right.
And this is what I don't understand. We pay attention to TV shows, we watch American Idol, we watch all
Mhm.
these shows, but when it comes to something like politics and
Mm-hmm.
things that's going to hurt you that you don't see,
Right.
just turn a blind eye to it. You just turn a blind eye to it. You
That's
got
right.
something else, Sean?
Yeah, because and just going off of what you said, we cannot turn a blind eye to the suffering of our neighbors. Economic policy should uplift, not oppress. I mean, it's time to advocate for just economy that serves all people, especially the most vulnerable among us. Because I mean, we are radically getting rid of programs that people needed for so many years. Now, I understand that we needed to reform certain things.
Mm-hmm.
Things needed to be reformed. But for me, the way you go about doing it where you're cutting stuff overnight. You're doing away with stuff overnight. I mean, just okay, plain and simple. The Doge agency
Mm-hmm.
did away with NOAA or severely cut NOAA's funding for
Mm-hmm.
things like weather prediction and weather alerts. And we just had a situation just the other day with the tornadoes in Kentucky to where there was only one man working in
Mm-hmm.
that office, and he did not have the manpower he needed to get that that warning out that a tornado was coming, and we lost 13 lives in one community. 13 lives in one community that possibly could have been saved if the warning went out. Because that warning system is a proven system that saves lives. We've seen it. We've seen it save lives. And when it does not go off, people die. And that's what happened. And we need to think about,
Mm-hmm.
did that Doge agency, by cutting and slashing those funds, and making only one man run this office when it was potentially ran by 20 people before. I don't know the exact number, so please, I apologize.
Mm-hmm.
But let's just say you had one man working, and now you had 10 men working yesterday, and then now we only got one. That warning didn't go off, and 13 lives perished because of it. And that is a absolute direct thing that came from the president because he allowed this agency to slash these funds. And we got to look at that. I mean, that's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah. Sam says, so no tax on tips, overtime, and Social Security do not help those in need. And he's
Yeah.
targeting
Okay.
that to you, Sean.
Yeah. I definitely want to comment on that. That is not in the bill. It is not in the bill. You go read it for yourself. There's absolutely no verbiage in that bill that has anything to do with no tips on over no taxes on overtime, tips, and Social Security. It's not in there. They actually sat there. I literally watched the entire um, um, examination of the bill. They looked for it. They could not find it. So it is not in there. And I challenge you to go find it. It is not in that bill. It was just it was just Trump saying something. But when the bill got wrote, it does not exist. So I
And what
challenge you to
what,
go
what bill
find it.
is that? Because I want to see if I can pull that up. What bill is that,
Um, I,
Sam?
I'm not sure the exact bill, but it is not in there. There is nowhere. It's nowhere in there.
So what I pulled up was it says the U.S. government does tax overtime pay and it count as regular
Hmm.
income
Yeah.
for tax purposes. Overtime pay is generally subject to the same federal income tax rate as regular wages.
Hmm.
This means that the earnings made from working overtime will be included in the individual's total income and tax accordingly. However,
Hmm.
specifics can vary based on individual circumstances such as filing status. Okay, da 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 da.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Sam, if you can send that to me, let me pull it up so we can kind of digest that because I'm not seeing anything that says that they're not taxing. He says, seen it. It said, I sent it to you in your messenger. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Let me see if you sent it to me in my messenger. Let me see if I can find it. This is a great conversation. I like when
Mm.
we
Yeah.
can have this type of conversation. Continue da 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 da. So Sean, while I'm looking for this, Sean, let me
Yeah.
see if I can find this with Sam so I can pull it up. He did send me something.
Okay.
I'm on
All
my
right.
iPad. So while we doing that, Sean, if you will,
Yeah.
let's go to
Yeah.
our next
Yes. Segment four. Segment
segment
four, where we're
4.
talking about cryptocurrency and the digital golden calf.
Okay.
I mean, and we talked about we touched on this last week about the meme coin. Like now let's discuss this. It's the Trump meme coin. That isn't just a financial strategy, it's a symbol of power and corruption. A powerful man created a digital empire while holding public office. So he created a meme coin that allowed people to buy into, and that directly increases his wealth. So every time somebody buys his meme coin, he makes money off of it. So it's nothing more than a digital money laundering is all it is. He's selling off America. He's selling it off to the highest bidder. All you got to do is buy into this meme coin, and you can get whatever influence you're looking for. I'm gonna buy. I mean, people are buying. I mean, countries are dumping billions of dollars in this meme coin, and just for the sole purpose of being able to get his attention, to get whatever it is that they need, whatever they need to help them flourish as a country. They're saying, okay, Trump, I'm giving you a whole bunch of money, and I need you to make it happen. And that it's not illegal, because it is so new and it's not regulated and we've never dealt with it before, but it's still not a good look. It's the optics of it is bad, really, really bad. And we've got to get ahead of it and find out exactly what it is. This is, where's this money going? Who's benefiting from it? Who's sending him money, and why? Why did he felt like this was a need? How does this benefit the American people? I need to know that. How does his meme coin benefit the tax-paying citizens of this country? And we've yet to get that information.
Yeah, so I'm pulling this up, Sean. I'm gonna pull up page 12. Sam is sending this to me. Pull up page 12 right quick. Oh man, it's so small.
Well, we got 3 minutes on our show, so I don't know if you want to get into it now or later.
Yeah.
Or,
So Sam,
I don't want to get away from it. But
yeah, I got you.
We're almost three minutes from this.
Okay, yeah, we'll get to it. I got it now, so we'll have. Hey Sam, we'll get to that, brother. We'll get to that. We'll have a discussion about that because I got it. But when I'm pulling it up on my iPad, it's coming up so small that I can't even read. I can't even expand it. But
all right,
Sean, it is important for us to have this kind of dialogue, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, let's stretch each other. Let's see what we know, and let's see what we know as facts. So I appreciate that, Sam. Sean, I appreciate everything you're bringing. And listen, with a little bit I'm bringing y'all in this conversation. Hey, listen, this is, how can I say, reminiscent of the money changers in the temple, right?
Yeah.
Jesus came in, he was mad with them jokers, turned the table over, and we all know, for the love of money, that's where evil comes from. Not for having money, for the love of it. And I'm gonna tell you, in this country, the greatest sin is greed. The greatest sin to me is greed.
Absolutely.
With this coin Donald Trump has, I haven't really given it the attention that it deserves, Sean. To kind of really dive deep into it and kind of get to understand what it is he's doing. But I can tell you this, the strategic Bitcoin reserves that were signed into law in March 2023, there's a lot of blurred lines between the state power and private wealth source.
Yeah.
There's a thin line between it. And I'm going to tell you, they're going to find a way to regulate cryptocurrency. When they do, heads are going to blow off. Folks going to jump off of buildings because it's the only currency right now that cannot be regulated. Meaning that
it has some regulations,
but I'm going to tell you what I mean.
But if you're crafty, you can get around them. You're right. You can get around them.
I'm going to tell you what I mean. I can take my phone, because I got some cryptocurrency, and I can cross any border with my phone and have that money in there. And it's not like I'm going to get pulled over because I got $10,000 and I'm traveling. So cryptocurrency gives you freedom that U.S. currency cannot give you.
Right.
You don't pay taxes on it until you take it out of your wallet and put it in your bank account. Now they charging it. Well, guess what? They have cryptocurrency credit cards. So I can swipe that thing and I ain't paying no taxes. It's just going to translate from crypto to American dollars. So That's what they want to regulate when it comes to cryptocurrency.
Okay.
Um,
All right.
what's Sam is saying?
Well, I definitely I want to. This is how I want to finish this show up because we're almost
Yeah.
done. All right. So everybody, we're wrapping up for the day. There was a lot of stuff, and we didn't get through it all. We definitely didn't get through it all. We apologize. But if you would like to see some more than that, talk about it more, let us know. Hit us up. Inbox us, DM us. We would like to go even further with us. Now, definitely, Garcia was not a U.S. citizen. I never said he was. But you still have you can still have legal status in this country and remain in this country. That still doesn't mean you get to be kidnapped. Plain and simple.
Mm-hmm.
You should not get kidnapped if you have legal status. Now, I just want everybody to understand that when we're looking at Trump and allowing all of the questionables that he does, you cannot use a defense that Obama did it, or Biden did it, or Clinton did it. If you had a problem with those presidents doing shady things and you wanted to see the swamp drained, then you cannot allow Trump to make the swamp any bigger. And that's what's happening right now. Yeah. Trump is making the swamp way, way bigger.
Yeah, and I look at it like this, Sean. We just live in the days of prophecy, man. Mm-hmm. Dreamed about, and what the apostles were warned about. Mm-hmm. We have to stick together as people. We have to stick together as a nation. We have to make sure that we are in the right place ethically and morally. Right. Like Sean said, we can't tackle everything, but I'm saying we're going to get you on the show, and then we're going to put together a show where we can really, you can have your voice, and I won't be reading the comment. So you let me know which Monday outside of next Monday that you can come on the show, and we're going to make that happen, man. And we're going to have a great time. We're going to have great dialogue. And yeah, we're going to disagree, and we're going to agree, and we're going to have some conversation. But I think because you're well-versed and we can be well-versed, we're going to have a great conversation. So listen, y'all, until next time, it doesn't matter what you think about me or Sean or who you believe we represent. I want all of you to always remember this. Keep God and Christ first in your life. Mind Changers Podcast.
We told y'all, we came to expose the lies and reveal the truth. We told y'all, we bring in biblical principles of factual truth. We told y'all, we came to expose the lies and reveal the truth. We told y'all, we bring in biblical principles of factual truth. We told y'all, yeah, we did.